Friends and listeners, we are proud to present today's guest, Miss Lisa Watson. Miss Watson graduated with an education specialist degree in technology from Lesley University. She also holds certificates in math, ELA, social studies, and business education. Miss Watson is retired from the United States Army and has been teaching middle school for 17 years. Thank you for serving.
Thank you.
Miss Watson, welcome. We are so excited to have you on our show. Let's talk computer science.
Okay.
So, tell us more about your work. How did you get to where you are today?
Okay. Well, first, my first degree is an undergraduate degree in business. I was one of those people that third time's a charm, and then I settled on what I was going to major in. And how I came along the computer science pathway is when I got out of the military, I was initially teaching math. And then I changed counties so that I would be closer to my home. The military has a program called Troops to Teachers. And if you go and teach in the inner city, they give you a bonus. So I did that. And actually, I think a lot of teachers need to do that because that really lets you know if you want to teach. It's when you're in an environment that everything's not great, the kids aren't well behaved. You may not have support by administration. You don't have support of parents. And you still want to be a teacher. You want to be a teacher. So how I came into doing computer science is I inherited the webmaster position at my school because the person who was teaching computer science retired. So I inherited her position as doing the webmaster. And I already had a master's degree, but they said, well, if you go back and get a specialist degree, not only would I get a raise, but I would have more knowledge to be able to do that job well and, start teaching computer science. So that's how I actually came into teaching computer science about 10, 11 years now. I think I got my specialist degree in 2010 from Lesley University.
So, what grades do you teach and what topics do you teach?
I teach 6th, 7th, and 8th. I teach foundations of secure information systems to 6th graders. I teach foundations of interactive design to 7th graders. And this year, 8th graders, I'm teaching investing in finance. So 3 of my classes are computer science based. The other 2 are financial literacy based. I guess just by virtue of being certified in a lot of things, they can kind of put me wherever they need me. So. But it keeps you on your toes.
So, do you use any external curriculum or everything you have built through the curriculum?
Actually, that's one thing my county is really good about. As long as I'm teaching the standards, I can use whatever curriculum I want to use. I use code.org. I use Code Academy. I use Khan Academy. I use Thunkable. I use Scratch. I use basically anything that's free. So as long as I meet the standards, it doesn't really matter to them what platform I use. As long as I meet the Georgia State standards and students learn what they need to learn. They learn how to code a website. They learn how to make an app. I could teach them how to do a website in Google Sites, but I teach them how to code with HTML, CSS. Because that is more of the programming, I think, so they can appreciate when they see things on the internet, all the work that it took for somebody to get it there. My county really kind of leaves that up to the person teaching the class. Now, it may be a little bit different in high school because they have to test out of it, but they don't have to test out of my class.
So, can you please let us know the school that you teach and the district that you are from?
I teach at Ebenezer Middle School in Rincon, Georgia, and the county is Effingham County, Georgia. We're about 40 minutes west of Savannah, and the county has probably a little over 13,000 students, maybe 13,500 right now. And it's a county that has 4 cities: Guyton, Rincon, Springfield, and Clio. So it's a very rural county.
Okay. So can you please talk about different trends in the K-12 CS computer science education? Are there any major changes that you're seeing?
Well, what I've noticed is, for me, that it seems like everything is evolving. You really have to stay on your, I try to do a lot of professional development because things are constantly changing. And let's say maybe the way that you did Python 6 months ago, and there's changes to it. For the students, I see them wanting to play a lot of gaming, but they don't want to take the time to create the game. So even though this generation of students are supposed to be so tech savvy, I find that they really aren't. Not just about programming, but just using computers in general. I find that they don't like to do a lot of reading. That goes across the board. They don't want to research anything. They kind of like, just hurry up and give me the answer. Just hurry up, give me the code and figure it out for me. It takes a lot for them to want to do the hard work. And what I'll say to students is, I know you may not want to major in computer science. I've got it, because a lot of them don't mind taking the class. And then some of them are like, well, I'm never going to need this. And what I will give them is a scenario and say, wonder if you're going for a job interview as an attorney and you've just finished law school and you're one of 3 applicants that they're bringing back for that second or third interview. And they say, we just lost an attorney that also did our website. Do any of you have those skills in your portfolio? And if you do, you could say, by the way, I did the website for my school newspaper. That might be able to give you a leg up. So it's not about you wanting to major in computer science. It's about the skills that you can put in your portfolio that will add to the wealth of knowledge that you have. And I try to approach it that way. And I find students are more receptive to taking the class, because I think in general, students kind of think, oh, well, people that major in computer science are all nerds or have to be, experts in math and so forth. And I would say the biggest thing that I can instill in them is the ability to believe that you can do it, be a good multitasker, and be a good critical thinker. You don't have to be the nerd to be good at it. You just have to have the drive to actually want to do it.
So, how do you think the schools should increase CS education and have students be more engaged?
I do think it should be a requirement, probably in middle school, because there's so many requirements in high school that they may not be able to fit it in. But I definitely think they would able with, we're on a semester system, and I know some people that are still on a quarter system. You could be able to fit that in for every student to be able to take at least a 9-week course or semester course of it. And I do think that financial literacy should be mandatory in high school. And the reason I would gauge that for high school is they're going to be closer to either getting out of high school, going on to college, and that knowledge about how to balance a checkbook and so forth will be fresher in their mind. I'm teaching it to 7th grade and 8th graders now. A lot of them aren't going to remember when they're a senior, unless they're going to actually get a job and they're going to do it and their parents are going to support them in it. But I do think that it would be good to make it a requirement, like, many states have, because it does, I feel, help with the critical thinking and the ability to problem solve, and so much where they don't have in a lot of classes. They just, it's because a lot of the classes are tied to the standardized test. So there may not be time to do projects and critically think. It's just like, okay, get the answer and let's move on. So I do think it would be very important. And I think while they're still engaged, they still like being in school. They're not turned off by school yet. It would be a good idea to incorporate. And the reason why it hasn't been done, especially now that most schools are on one-to-one by virtue of, the virtual environment, so forth. I think maybe before it's, well, if I give this to Johnny to do in the classroom, how's he going to do it at home? Well, they're overcoming a lot of those hurdles about students having access to the internet at home. And our school right now is a one-to-one school now. That may stop when we're fully through this pandemic. But I think that there's not any reason why. I don't see it as a financial reason why the Department of Education for Georgia can't mandate it. Because there's so much free applications and sites, out there. You don't have to sit around and wait for this grant to get this and that and the other. Not just to start it. Now, if you want to get into some of the engineering things and more with robotics and things, yes, that costs. But just to get their feet wet, I don't use anything that's paid for in my classroom.
What are the, can you talk to me about few ideal solutions for resources that are needed to help improve or increase CS education?
Your things would be even better if I maybe had, for example, the Disney collection platform. It matches my 6th grade standards, and I've talked to a lot of people about different platforms and using them, and some of them are great. But again, a teacher's limited to a budget for the entire year. And I normally can't just take that budget and get a license for one platform that's only going to last me a year. So in essence, it would be great to have more funding to, because I'll have teachers that say they're using this platform and they're using that platform and they've got a grant, this, that, and the other. But, you know, just from having done this for 10 years, I think you have to go out and seek out the professional development. I can say that my board has never turned me down for any professional development. And before the pandemic, started, every summer I was going somewhere. I was going to Texas. I was going to Chicago. I was going somewhere. And the bulk of the computer languages that I know, I've taught myself by going to professional development and then just working on it. So I don't really think me getting additional funding at this point, it would enhance my program some, but it doesn't keep me from meeting the standards. I find a way to teach the standards. If I got more money, that would be great. And I could use some of those platforms that are out there that a lot of the curriculum and everything is done for you. I could engage in more programming languages than I do right now. But I think I can deliver enough to kind of whet their palate to see if this is what they're really into. And if students are really into it, they're going to stay with it. You can tell the students that are really engaged and want to learn more, and that they would take as many classes as they could take, or the ones that want to major in it. And then you can tell the ones that are just going to try to get through the class. So, extra funding would be great, but I honestly think a lot of it starts with the teacher and how you go about preparing yourself for the classroom. I've had 3 teachers reach out to me this school year, a teacher that aren't even in my county, teachers that saw my name online. One of them's in Atlanta and said, "Hey, can you help me? Can you get me on track? I just started teaching computer science and whatever." And I made Google Classrooms for each one of them. I put assignments in there, but I can't teach you that coding language from scratch. It's going to take work on your part. You have to do your due diligence and make sure you're prepared. So when a student runs into something, they stumble upon something that doesn't work, you know how to help them correct it. So just buying a platform that guides them through everything and gives you the lesson plans and gives you the videos and all that, that's great. But you still have to have the background knowledge that the coding language. Because all it is great and is well designed as code.org is, and a lot of them are. I can't tell you how many projects I have created to supplement what I'm given, because a student still didn't understand something. So I had to make sure that I had that foundation myself. And some teachers get pushed into computer science, and some desire to do it, but I do think it starts with the teacher, and you have to feel comfortable with it. You have to have the foundational knowledge, at least in whatever you're teaching and the standards that you're required to teach. So I just make sure I do that, through professional development. I think one school year I had 100 hours in professional development. I know some teachers haven't done that much since I've known them. So
yeah, that is hours.
I can go a little overboard too, but I'm just I just want to get as much knowledge as I can and keep students abreast of anything that's changing. I feel like it's my duty to, so but I think a lot of it starts with the teacher, and yes, the boards can supplement and give them money, especially when, like, I've gotten into Python and I only have 20 kits, network kits, and I need some more. And, I can, put in a request to get some more, but I can team students up in pairs. So I don't have to have one for every student. So, I mean, there's workarounds to everything, but, I think being passionate about what you're teaching. Mm-hmm.
Any final words?
I would just say, for a teacher that's new to teaching computer science, do as much professional development as you can. And I know you're busy during the school year. You do it in the summer, do it on the weekends, attend webinars. But and you get involved in a community of other teachers that you can reach out to. And I find that most teachers really want to share what they've done. There's some teachers that no, I created it, it's mine. But I find that most of them like networking and letting other teachers know what they've done. And that's for teachers that have to teach it. And I think for other teachers, like core teachers, like social studies and language arts, don't be afraid to dip your toe in the water and do some type of enhanced activity that's computer science related, because I think the students will enjoy the change of pace. They'll like to see that creative side in you as well, because you can find plenty of coding that's related to science and math and then other areas. And I know you have to teach the standards, but you can incorporate that the students are learning the standards as well. I mean, I've taught math, and making coding a Christmas tree can be equilateral triangles. So, you can incorporate it if you want to, but I know a lot of core teachers are probably nervous because they haven't done it before, but you might be able to reach the students on a different level of engagement if you bring it into the classroom and get off the worksheets for a little while.
Yes, making some notes. Yep, totally makes sense. Yep. Thank you so much, Ms. Watson, for your time.
Okay, you're very welcome.
Yeah, I learned quite a bit on what it takes for a teacher, like who's not from a computer science background, but needs a lot of passion to teach computer science, to teach the students. Thank you so much for what you're doing for these students and our economy. Thanks a lot for you.
Okay, I appreciate you asking me on.